Hey folks, Fractured Headlines here. Taking a break from the outdoor heat and staying indoors with the AC on. Talking about today with leaders like this, who needs enemies? If you watch the news, you're seeing that Trump continues to talk about these wacky tariffs that just drive up the cost for average Americans. And we're not fooled by his, we're not fooled by his talk about tariffs going to bring prices down and all that. Tariffs drive up the prices. And we see Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, he goes on TV and he doesn't do anything to counter that. He's reinforcing that false narrative. J.D. Vance would like us to wait and be patient, and the economy is eventually going to get better. Trump, of course, lies to us and tells us the economy has gotten better already, and your food prices are down, and your Thanksgiving is going to be cheaper, and Santa Claus will be bringing you a larger pile of presents at a lower price. All of that is baloney. Yeah, I was looking at the list of the cabinet members, and Pete Hegseth. Remember Pete Hegseth? He's the guy who had all the generals come to Washington for a big sleepover. He invited them all to bring their favorite pajamas and teddy bears, and he would be providing the Kool-Aid. And so he gave a speech about what it takes to be a manly man in today's soldierly type world, and he kind of mentioned that facial hair is kind of a no, and being fat in the military. If you're in the military, you shouldn't be a fat person. I don't recall him mentioning anything about the commander-in-chief. That seems to be an exception to the rule. The top dog can be just as fat as he wants, and so Donald Trump is exempt from that particular criticism as commander-in-chief. Seems a little strange. It seems like he should be providing an example from the top down, but so it goes. We've got Pat Bondi, who is constantly lying to the American public about the Epstein files. She has them on her desk. She doesn't have them on her desk. She knows what's in them. She doesn't know what's in them. She's doing her desperate level best to hang on to those files, keep us from finding out what's in there. Well, we all have a pretty good idea what's in there. We're going to find out just how young those girls were that Donald Trump was cavorting with on Lolita Island with his good pal, Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know if he actually made it to the island or not. I know he was on a plane 7 times, according to reports. There's a lot that you can do on a plane, I suppose. If you're determined to join the Mile High Club, and the girls were certainly aboard. RFK Jr., another one of our feckless leaders, was tampering with the CDC website the other day. I saw on the news. He would like to put a footnote on the mentions that vaccines do not cause autism, and the footnote is that these are not things that are proven by any kind of medical science. And RFK continues to fly in the face of actual science. He's long been an anti-vaxxer, an anti-vax conspiracy type theorist, and lest we forget, RFK Jr. is indeed the guy who scrapes up dead raccoons and such from the side of the road and puts them in the deep fryer and enjoys that roadkill. He's, in spite of the Kennedy money, he seems to see some value in stopping to pick up the dead crows and raccoons and whatever other carcasses he can scrape off the highway and bring home to feed to himself and his family. I'm surprised the entire family doesn't have brain worms. I'm just going to guess that the brain worm came from some fetid raccoon that he lifted off the hot tar one day. Yeah, you got to wonder, man. This guy can afford to eat in all the good restaurants, and he's scouting for dead bodies along the highway. And he's our Health and Human Services Secretary. These appointments are a joke. And I think Trump realized that as he was filling his cabinet, he was howling with glee. This one's going to be driving me even more crazy. This one's even more stupid. This one's even more ridiculous. And as he stacked them up, it just must have been one giant laugh-a-thon in the White House as one improbable appointee after another was lined up. Linda McMahon, married to Vince McMahon, like the World WWF, the fake the wrestlers, that showbiz wrestling baloney. That was her claim to fame, being part of that deal. Department of Education head. She was never a teacher. She was never a principal. She was never a school administrator. I don't know if she got, I don't know if she made it through high school or what her story was, but certainly not qualified to be a leader in the field of education. Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security. Now that one might make sense because, there's a girl who's not afraid to shoot a dog and a goat. And if your homeland is being threatened by dogs and goats, then Kristi's got the experience and she knows just what to do. You get out your trusty shotgun and you load it up with some. We put a shotgun shell or two in there, and you take that dog or that goat that's been threatening the homeland, and you haul it out back into the gravel pit and you blow its brains out. And for that, Kristi, she's got the experience. So maybe Kristi Noem as Homeland Security. Maybe that one makes pretty good sense right there. Maybe not too. So it's a cast of unlikely characters. I should probably add Mike Johnson in there. Mike Johnson. Somebody was threatening to out him, his Grindr profile the other day. I don't know whatever came of that. I don't think that was anything. But Mike has got a strange pact with his son to moderate to monitor each other's computer usage so that neither one of them are tempted to look at pornography. Wow, that's about the strangest bargain you could ever make with your boy. It's like, you know what? You make sure that I'm not whacking off to porn, and I'll make sure that you're not whacking off to porn, and we'll all pull together as a team. Hey. And whatever insanity Trump has got brewing, Mike Johnson will get on there and say, well, the president, he says it like it is, and he's a straight shooter, and he's not gonna, he's not pulling any punches, and he's refreshing, a breath of fresh air, and whatever kind of baloney Trump is trying to load on your sandwich, Mike is there to tell you it's filet mignon and it's really the good stuff, and you shouldn't worry about any of that. Yeah, there are other characters in that cabinet, but Pete Hegseth, former Fox News host, paid a settlement to avoid a sexual assault case. Secretary of the Department of Defense, Linda McMahon, former head of the World Wrestling Entertainment, covered up sexual abuse of minors. She's in the Department of Education. Boy, now there's a weird placement. And RFK, of course, let's not forget, a former heroin addict, also accused of sexual assault by a former family babysitter in the Department of Health and Human Services. I'm not sure what kind of human service he was providing to that babysitter, but anyhow, that was his deal. And of course, Trump is the granddaddy of the leaders who are actually worse than enemies. 7 times on Epstein's plane, 97 times pleaded the fifth during his trials. Boy, those trials were something, weren't they? Trump falling asleep in a courtroom. The only thing that saved his ass was being elected president. If he hadn't been elected president, he'd be probably in prison by now, or at least he'd be appealing yet another time, trying to avoid being in prison. 34 felony convictions for business fraud. 91 criminal charges, 26 sexual assault allegations. Let's not gloss over that one. Hey, folks, if 1 or 2 or 3 gals are saying that you sexually assaulted them, maybe they got together on the phone and cooked it up, but it's pretty hard to get 26 ladies all together on the same team to cook up some kind of a conspiracy against anyone. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just err on the side of caution. I'm gonna believe those 26 women, including E. Jean Carroll, who won a civil court case against Trump. And what was she awarded, like $93 million or something like that? Now, chances of her ever collecting that are pretty slim because Trump is really a professional when it comes to welshing on his bills. You look back on his ancient history as a builder in New York, and he stiffed his contractors and suppliers left and right. Thousands of lawsuits where people tried to collect the money that was due to them, and they realized it was going to be more in court costs than the money that they were trying to collect. And so, over and over again, with an army of corrupt lawyers, Trump managed to dodge his financial responsibilities. Didn't pay his bills. The rest of us wouldn't get away with that. That's for sure. 2 impeachments. Not that that amounts to a hill of beans these days. Richard Nixon, just under the threat of impeachment, he resigned, but that sense of shame seems to have disappeared in Washington these days. Bill Clinton stuck around after his impeachment, providing the example for Donald Trump, who stuck around after 2 impeachments. Trump had the fake university, and that got shut down. People were awarded money for that. I think he had to pay like $25 million to the people who he cheated on that deal. He had a charity that got shut down because the money wasn't going to where it was supposed to go. I'm not sure what happened there, if he used it for campaigning or what happened with that money, but he was told he couldn't run a charity anymore. I mean, the idea of Trump running a charity is ridiculous. Anyhow, you imagine the money making it through from the charity to where it's actually supposed to go? I don't think so. That money's going to end up in his pocket anyhow. So yeah, a lot of bad things going on in Washington with our leaders. A whole pack of miscreants and ne'er-do-wells and people ill-suited to their positions, people who are not qualified for their positions. And with leaders like that, who needs enemies? Amen to that. I'm going to call it right there. Hope you all have a fantastic day. You know the old story. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. If you don't like what you hear, drop a nasty comment in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond whether you like what you're hearing or not. If you hit the subscribe button if that's your inclination. And you all have a fantastic day, and I will catch you on the next video.